I mean, I'm like,
It
"Oh,
is.
do I even want to date?" Okay, but maybe I'm a different case. There are for sure women out there who are like, okay, I'm ready. I want a man, right? But still, it's such a
Yeah.
personal thing that, yeah,
It's
you've been
such a
hurt so
personal thing.
much, so you want to trust that person.
That's why when I made this dating relationship quiz, that's just this free quiz on the website, you took it yourself and you're like, I'm a little bit of A and B and C. And the quiz shows you, what happens metabolically with your physical body when this relationship crashes and burns or costs you too much or is taking more than it gives. It shows the physical of that because when working with patients forever, like I told you, I saw that. I saw the pattern, I specialize in finding the
Mm.
patterns, read patterns, everything. But so many women are going to look at that quiz and go, oh my gosh, this makes sense of why I go through this urgency of I want a man, I want a husband, I want somebody else who could bring in extra money, extra resources, extra time, maybe, more fun, more play, whatever it is, but also then go through this part where they're like, nothing is working. And it's because truly nothing is working, which is why I created the dating roadmap based on anthropologically what is tried and true, not red flags, inner child, all this crap
Yeah.
of looking for wrong. If you're looking for wrong, you're going to find wrong. You know what I mean? But what anthropologically made people want to commit? What did they look for early on to know if they could trust this person and how to trust this person? And also according to neuroscience and biochemistry. And that dating roadmap saves you all the time. Like all the things that could be crap, you find out early on. But I think like what you're saying, it is such a sensitive space. And I don't think women, I'm gonna tear up when I say this because I had a patient recently she like ugly cried when I said this. She said, I've never she'd been in therapy for 2 decades, she said. And she said, you explained this better in 5 minutes than 2 decades of therapy. And I said, one, we're looking at relationships as though we need better communication. But if we look at how men attach and the long-term relationships that they put willingly, without being asked, put their time, money, and energy into, these long-term friendships and stuff, they do not have great communication. Men do not connect through communication. They never have.
Mm.
That's not what they do. So you finding what better communication is you exhausting yourself trying to put a square peg in a round hole. Like it's just not going to work. Do you know what I mean? And you might have like these aha moments and you will see that where they're like, oh my gosh, you know what? This really made a big difference in our relationship or in our marriage. Great. Track that person in like 5 years. Track that couple. What they do is what men do long term, they play together, they have fun together, they understand a camaraderie together. They realize that they're on the same team together. And all the things I teach in the dating roadmap. I mean, step by step, I tell you what to look for that's good and if not next. Because this is what is sustainable, proven according to all the neuroscientific studies, anthropologically, what makes a relationship last. Anyway, that aside, the other part, this is where she ugly cried. I said, there's no other relationship that a woman experiences in her life the way she does with a man, because it is only a man that she literally lets into her physical body
Mm.
in a point of surrender and vulnerability. There's no other. And yet we put so much emphasis, psychologists, therapists, all this relationship stuff on what to avoid or how you were wounded or if you were molested or sexually abused. And I'm not gaslighting. I was those things. I went through this process. That's why I wrote better solutions. That's why I
Yeah.
created better tools because all of that just kept me looping. And what's wrong? What's wrong? Victim. What's wrong? What's wrong? Victim. And yet, with all of that work that we're doing, looking at that, there's nothing teaching women the art and the skill and wisdom of asking, is what I'm letting in what I want multiplied? Because in the end, a lot of us, if we were to look back at these relationships, we would not have wanted to multiply the energy we allowed in. And that's on us.
Mm.
That's on us. And
Yeah.
when I said that, she just ugly cried. She's like, oh my gosh, you're right. And I said, yeah, because there's a difference in our brain of that person who hurt me, mom, dad, assault. That was a wrong on them. That was something that they did. And we want to heal that. We want to process that. And I help I help women do that all the time, let alone I've helped men do that because men have been assaulted as well. But there's a very different process of I have never been given the tools to know how to say, is this something I want multiplied?
Mm.
And so I wait until I've let it in. And then I'm hurt. And then I'm depleted. And then I'm broken. And then I'm confused. And I never had the discernment, the wisdom, the tools to go, ooh, is this something I want multiplied?
Yeah.
Because that feminine energy, that's what's happening. It's multiplying, you know?
Yeah.
And so it is a really sensitive space and conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like, 6 weeks to flat abs, like which I can help women with, but it's not that. And I also love, while there's so many amazing features and tools in the Hungry for More, in the Hungry for More, there's neural desire mapping, there's the dating roadmap, there's the polarity attachment, there's so many great tools to like immediately work on and daily just being able to heal a little you without having to go backward just really quickly, like just so many great tools. I really like connecting them with the roadmap first, because the roadmap really is the meat of it that they're going to be using day to day, and then putting everything else into that while they're increasing their cell voltage, and improving their detoxification, and working on big body movements, improving their physical health and hormones. There's all that stuff in there. But really, along the way is this dating roadmap that they feel so secure and so held. The whole reason why we as women want a man is because we want masculine energy. And so
Mm.
connecting them with this very masculine energy, and this is not coaching. This is not, I'm guiding you as you're doing visualizations. And not that that doesn't work. This is very masculine energy of a trustworthy, scientifically proven and backed framework that you can go, ah, now I can relax. Now I can
Yeah.
just be in this space of receiving. Now I
Yeah.
have actual guidance, not feminine energy guidance, not, crystals and prayer and all that. And not that I don't appreciate those things, but like literally that masculine energy that we're so craving, that we're hungry for. That's why we
Yeah.
want a man. Yeah.
Ay, Jennifer, guess what happened? I
But,
was in the supermarket this morning and I got a message from a former hotel guest of ours asking if I'm
hmm
still in the DR out of the blue. I mean, 9 years later, and the entire script is playing in my head already. Like, because back then when he returned, we were staying in touch. Really nice guy. He grew up with a few sisters, so he really knows how to communicate with women, and he's a very decent guy. And I actually wanted to visit him, but then his daughter got violently sick, so I didn't end up going. And now out of
yeah.
the blue, he's messaging and just saying, "Hey, are you still in the DR?"
Okay, I want to say something about this because this is so fun.
But now the entire
Okay, so
script is already running in my head, and it's like, make it stop.
love
I
it so
don't even want
much.
to
Okay,
be
okay,
there.
okay. I want to
I
say,
don't even want to be there. I'm like, my life was so peaceful.
love it so much. So
And
there's
here
this
I
thing
am
that
sitting
happened.
because he sent me a 6-word message.
What was the 6 words?
It was like, "Hi, Patricia, are you still in the Dominican Republic?" Okay, it was 9 words.
I love it so much.
I hate it. I don't want to be there.
Well, I feel like you're processing, it sounds like at least, you're processing the excitement and the potential and the good and the bad. But like you said, you're in a different space now. He's been through some life experiences. You've been through life experiences. That was 9 years ago, you know?
Yeah, for sure
So,
pre-pandemic. So it was like,
yes. And so it's like, who's to say that this person that's coming back into your life and popping in isn't a step to that pathway? Like, for me personally, there were so many people that were steps to that, and I got to where I was, like, exhausted because I didn't have the dating roadmap back then. But when I look back, each of them were this it was like a mirror available to me for me to go, "Ooh, what am I seeing? What do I like? What do I not like?" And then moving forward until I met my love, and then I was like, I am staying here forever. This is fantastic. But which actually he did that first. But anyway, reeling it in. I would say just allow yourself to walk through it, you know? That excitement and that nervousness, they're all wonderful things that your body is saying you there's something here. Whether it may be a lesson or whether it may be a long term. And you don't have to know if it's a lesson or a long term because you also have the dating roadmap. You get to let him show you instead of you figuring it out. You know, you don't have
Dios
to
mío.
know that. You get to walk through the,
Yeah.
even if he has potential, whatever it is, you're not in a position where you were 9 years ago of you trying to figure out, is he a lesson or a long term? You now have the dating roadmap to go, I'm going to do this step. If it works, the next step. If that's a yes, then the next step. You are just yes, no, and receiving and relaxed. And he's the one who reveals whether or not he's lesson or long term.
He needs to
Yeah.
verify. Ay,
Yes,
Dios
he
mío.
does.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is the thing that this is a great example of where we burn ourselves out with all the ways that we've learned to scan for why it won't work or why it will
Mhm.
hurt. That's really
Mhm.
what it is. It's not even why it won't work. It's why it might hurt, right? And if you play this back and hear what you're doing, you're finding all the reasons to harden and protect your heart because it's been hurt. And your survival brain goes, I want to scan for how this might hurt again.
Mm.
And that's brilliant. But now you have better tools. You have better tools to go, this is fun. This is exciting. I kind of get all butterflies and let him prove himself. Let him prove if he's a lesson or a lifetime. That's on him. That's
Maybe
on
he
him
doesn't
with the
even
dating roadmap.
message back. Can you imagine? I
Well,
once
then he'll
had
know.
Yeah, but I had once a guy who was like messaging me out of the blue, maybe after 3 or 4 years. Also, not a hotel guest, but I met him on the beach. We were all kite surfers back then. And it was one of the first vacations I spent down here. And we just had such a wonderful time. I mean, these water sports, it's just such a nice thing to connect with people. You have a topic together, right? And you share the experience. You share all the water you swallow, all the sand and all the mishaps. And so he was in a relationship, and out of the blue, 3, 4 years later, he's messaging me like, "Hey, are you still in the DR?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Cool, let me book tickets. I'm there on April 16 or whatever." And never messaged back.
So again, back to the dating roadmap. You don't have to put any energy into that. That is a lesson, not a lifetime. And the lesson there was, if you were to flip it, yes, I am. What do you have in mind? And then if he said book tickets or whatever, like he said, then that's great. I mean, or even like how you handled it like that, that's great. But in the end, it was you're sitting here saying, I'm here, I'm available. He's not proving he is a lifetime. And so while you have the excitement and you have that playfulness of potential, you're able to think of it in a different way. Instead of he failed or I failed, it's this was excitement.
I only messaged back, "Yes, I am." I mean, to the guy that was a Finnish guy back then. 3 words, "Yes, I am." And then he was like, "Cool, I'm
But
booking tickets." I'm like, "Okay."
okay, so when you go through Hungry for More, that is one of the things that you would do with the neural desire mapping and with the visualization that's with that. You are putting down all the best you've experienced with romance, not the worst.
Mhm.
And then you begin scanning for that with your brain, your reticular activating system. So here is this really exciting, fun thing that happened. Write that down because you want that. You want those things that, like, ooh, they gave me butterflies, or ooh, that was romantic.
Mhm.
And just because that person was that as a lesson of things you enjoy doesn't mean it's a lifetime, but that's how you create a really accurate picture for you to know what you do desire for your lifetime. It's not wasted energy. Does
Can
that
we
make
start the
sense?
course in April already? I need access to all the tools now.
And honestly, when you say we're not publishing this, 100%, this is honestly what needs published. You can see how my
Oh.
body like came alive. I have had a fever of 103 for like 4 days. And the second you start talking about relationships from the challenges you have, this is what I am designed by God to do. Do you know what I mean? Like my whole body comes alive. I have been in bed and have not left my house in 3 days. I put on my makeup, I did my hair, and was like the beginning of this video, if anybody was to see it, I am like slumped over and sad. My eyes are closed, and I'm like, let's go. I know we got this. Like, I'm cheering for you. Like, when you said this is such a sensitive space, whoo, I start crying when I say this. This is why 99% of what is out there as relationships is bullcrap.
Yeah.
Because it's quick tip post, not lived, integrated, embodied experiences. And what is
Yeah.
out there of lived experiences is and then he hurt me, and these are the red flags, and this is better communication. Men do not stay in long-term relationships, even with their friends, based on great communication. They don't. Like, that's not a thing. Getting better communication is exhausting you. Men do not connect through communication. They just don't. You're trying to put a square peg in a round hole. You're looking, if people are looking for red flags and that's what's out there, these are the sufferings. This is the narcissist. This is the victim. This is the, this is your attachment stuff. Guess what? You're going to find more of that, So this is the content that needs to be out there, is content of how do these tools that I've created based on deeply held scientific truths, anthropologically, neuroscience, biochemistry, more than changing truths of the quick fad, how do they actually show up, and how do you work through them, and how do they impact your life with you trying to find your relationship that's for you, what's right for you in this walk. And that's where the dating roadmap and the neural desire mapping and all these tools came in.
So if you liked what we were talking about, check out Hungry for More. We put the links everywhere you can find them.